There comes a moment in life when the silence feels heavier than the noise around you. You wake up tired even after sleeping, smile in front of people while feeling empty inside, and slowly begin to question whether anything will ever change. Many people carry pain they never talk about. They walk through life pretending to be strong while fighting battles in their minds every single day. If you're listening to this right now, you may have reached a point where you feel emotionally exhausted, mentally broken, and completely disconnected from hope. But before you decide to give up on yourself, you need to understand something powerful. The darkest seasons of life often come right before the greatest transformation. The pain you feel today is not proof that your life is over. It is proof that your soul is asking for change, healing, and renewal. Inspired by the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy, one of the greatest lessons you can learn is that the human mind has incredible power. The thoughts you repeat daily eventually shape your emotions, your actions, and your future. When your mind becomes filled with fear, failure, and hopelessness, your energy begins to collapse under the weight of those beliefs. But the moment you begin changing your inner conversation, your life slowly begins changing with it. You may not control every situation around you, but you can still control the direction of your thoughts. And that small shift can become the beginning of a completely different future. Right now, you might feel like nobody understands your pain. You may feel abandoned, disappointed, or emotionally drained from carrying responsibilities, heartbreak, rejection, or failure for too long. But your current condition is not your final destination. Every successful person, every strong soul, and every healed heart has gone through moments where they felt lost. The difference is that they decided not to stay in that darkness forever. They chose to keep moving, even when progress felt slow. They chose to believe in possibilities before seeing results. And most importantly, they learned that healing starts within the mind. Your thoughts matter more than you realize. The words you say to yourself every day are quietly building your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that your life is hopeless, your mind begins accepting that as truth. But when you start speaking peace, strength, faith, and purpose in your life, your subconscious mind begins responding differently. This is why protecting your mind is so important during difficult seasons. Stop feeding your spirit with constant negativity, fear, and self-hatred. Instead, begin reminding yourself that your life still has value, your story is not finished, and your future can still become something beautiful. Even if you cannot see the light yet, that does not mean the light no longer exists. Sometimes you simply need to keep walking through the darkness long enough to finally reach it. The truth is that most people do not lose their strength all at once. It happens slowly through years of disappointment, silent struggles, broken trust, and dreams that never seem to work out. Little by little, hope begins to fade, and eventually the mind becomes trapped in a cycle of negativity. You start expecting failure before even trying. You begin doubting yourself before opportunities even arrive. This is exactly why guarding your inner world is one of the most important things you will ever do. Dr. Joseph Murphy often taught that whatever is impressed deeply into the subconscious mind eventually expresses itself in reality. That means the thoughts you continuously repeat are shaping your emotional condition every single day. If you constantly focus on fear, loss, and limitation, your mind begins treating those emotions as permanent truth. But if you begin feeding your mind with hope, confidence, peace, and belief, your entire perspective slowly starts changing from the inside out. This transformation does not happen overnight, but every small mental shift matters more than you realize. One positive thought repeated consistently can eventually become a completely different life. Many people are waiting for external changes before they allow themselves to feel better. They think they need more money, more approval, more success, or different circumstances before they can finally experience peace. But real healing begins internally. The moment you stop speaking against yourself, your healing process begins. The moment you stop calling yourself weak, broken, or worthless, your mind starts recovering from years of emotional damage. You were never created to live in constant fear of failure. You were never meant to spend your life believing that your mistakes define your future. Every human being fails. Every person experiences pain, rejection, and moments of uncertainty. But your difficult moments are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to develop strength, wisdom, patience, and deeper understanding within you. Sometimes life isolates you so you can rediscover yourself without the noise of the world controlling your identity. Sometimes painful endings are necessary to create room for healthier beginnings. Even now, while you may feel emotionally exhausted, there is still something powerful alive inside you. The fact that you're still searching for hope means part of your spirit still believes life can improve. Hold on to that small belief because it has the power to grow stronger every day. Stop measuring your worth by temporary situations. A difficult season does not mean you have a failed life. Some of the strongest people you admire today once cried themselves to sleep wondering if they would ever recover emotionally. What changed their lives was not luck. It was their decision to keep going despite the pain. It was their willingness to rise again after disappointment. It was their refusal to let darkness permanently control their future. You must understand that your mind is like a garden. Whatever thoughts you plant repeatedly will eventually grow. If you plant fear, doubt, anger, and hopelessness, your emotional life becomes overwhelmed with negativity. But if you begin planting thoughts of faith, peace, confidence, gratitude, and purpose, your inner world gradually becomes stronger, calmer, and more powerful than before. One of the greatest mistakes people make during difficult times is believing that they must have everything figured out before taking the next step forward. They wait for perfect clarity, complete confidence, or immediate results before they allow themselves to move again. But life rarely works that way. Growth often begins in uncertainty. Healing usually starts while you are still emotionally hurting. Strength is built during moments when you feel weak but continue moving anyway. You do not need to become fearless before rebuilding your life. You simply need to refuse to surrender completely to hopelessness. Even the smallest step forward matters more than standing still in fear. Inspired by the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy, it is important to remember that your subconscious mind responds to the dominant thoughts and emotions you consistently repeat. This means your daily habits, your internal conversations, and your emotional focus are either strengthening your future or weakening it. If you wake up every morning expecting disappointment, your mind begins searching for evidence to confirm those expectations. But when you begin training yourself to expect growth, healing, opportunities, and progress, your perspective slowly changes and new possibilities become visible. This does not mean pretending life is perfect or ignoring your struggles. It means choosing not to let temporary pain define your permanent identity. Too many people have allowed one painful chapter to convince them their entire story is ruined. But your story is still being written. The failure you experienced was not the end of your purpose. The heartbreak you survived was not proof that you are unlovable. The rejection you faced was not confirmation that you are worthless. Sometimes life removes certain people, situations, or plans because they were never aligned with the future you were meant to build. In painful moments, this can feel unfair and devastating. But often those experiences are preparing you for greater emotional maturity, wisdom, and inner strength. The strongest people are not those who never suffer. They're the ones who continue believing in life, even after suffering deeply. Right now, there may be a voice inside your mind constantly reminding you of your mistakes, your fears, your regrets, and your failures. That voice may have become so loud that you no longer recognize your own worth. But you must stop giving permanent power to temporary emotions. Feelings change. Circumstances change. Seasons change. Your current pain will not last forever, no matter how endless it feels today. There are still moments of joy, peace, love, healing, and success waiting ahead of you, even if you cannot see them clearly right now. Sometimes the mind becomes so exhausted that it forgets how much strength it has already survived with. Look at everything you have endured so far. You are still here, despite the nights you thought would break you, despite the disappointments that crushed your spirit, despite the fear and emotional exhaustion. You are still standing. That alone is proof that there is more resilience inside you than you realize. Never underestimate the power of one decision to continue fighting for your life, your peace, and your future. Small decisions repeated daily eventually create powerful transformations. One hopeful thought can lead to one positive action. One positive action can create new momentum. And new momentum can slowly rebuild a life that once felt completely broken.